Hi, and welcome to Be Fluent IELTS. I'm your teacher, Masha.
And I'm your teacher, Stu.
Welcome, everyone. So today we're going to do part two speaking questions.
So if you remember, part two is when you're given a topic to talk about and you have 2 minutes to give your answer. It's one that basically you're going to be telling a story most of the time. So you need a lot of detail, and also there will be some questions that you can follow to help keep you on track.
Yeah, I generally tell students who are lower level to follow the questions and kind of organize your notes based on the questions. But higher level students those questions are just kind of guidelines.
Right. Yeah. I think that for me, it's really helpful to follow them. I like having that to help me remember what I want to say.
Mhm.
And for me personally, taking notes is really important.
Yes, I find that students, you have 1 minute to prepare, and I find that students just write down like a couple words, but you really need to organize your notes and use them because you're allowed to look at them. So,
Yeah, I
um,
think you should write down as much as you can in that time because the more details you have, the more you can speak.
yeah, exactly. So I'm going to start by interviewing Stu today. Are you
All
ready?
right. Absolutely. Let's do it.
So the question I'm going to ask you is, please describe an open air or street market that you enjoyed visiting. Normally you have a minute to prepare, but we're not going to use the time right now to do that. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to answer.
All right. Just tell me when to start.
Please begin your answer now.
Um, so back in about 2006, I went to Bangkok, and I went to a market there. It's called the Weekend Market, and it's a little bit outside of the city center, so you have to take a train there. But it's a huge market. It's only open Saturday and Sunday, which is why it's called the Weekend Market, and it's absolutely massive. They have everything there. There's food, clothes. You can buy like souvenirs.
Hmm.
There's also pets, which was kind of crazy to see. And there's yeah, really anything you can think of. In fact, it's so big that I actually bought a map that shows where the different sections are. And so within each section, you can't really know who the vendor is because it's there's a lot of stalls. But typically all of the clothes were in one part, and then the food was in a different part.
Hmm.
And it was great to just walk around, and I think I bought some souvenirs when I was there, but mostly it was just kind of a sight to see that there were so many things, and I really loved the variety. And I got really hot because of course it's a tropical place, and so I had to stop, and I got some coconut water and
Hmm.
had lunch there, and so it was a really fun experience. Um, and I think if I ever go back to Bangkok, I think I'd probably go again. It was something that was so big I couldn't see everything that was there, and I'm sure a lot of things have changed since the last time I was there, and so I think it'd be really fun to go back again. Um, it, it
So thank
was
you. That was a good 2 minute answer.
Thanks. I started to run out of steam a little bit at the end.
I could feel that, but you were doing really well. You were like, "All right, I got more." It felt like you had prepared some things just in case.
Yeah, I tried to write down a lot. I think actually, generally, a good way for me is to think about doing it again or going back or something. And so that wasn't one of the questions, but it was something I can talk about fairly easily.
Mm.
And so that's one way to keep going. But it's tough. 2 minutes is a lot longer than you think.
It is because I think, you get going and you start talking, and like a minute and a half, you feel like you've answered, and then it's like, oh my God, you still have more time.
Yeah, for me, the last 30 seconds is that's really the challenge is to keep going. Um,
So it's,
Well,
yeah, it's really
mhm.
important to just kind of, even in your notes, to write just in case if you do run out of time, just write a
Oh yeah.
note
Yeah,
of
as much as you can, I think. Just and also I think too, my strategy is I just keep talking until I'm cut off. I don't even worry about the time.
just make sure that you can read your handwriting, because that's another big
Yeah.
issue that people have,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, right. Well, do you want to give it a shot?
So, a few months ago, I went to this really nice farmers market in Manhattan. It's in a place called Union Square, and it's a market that has all different kinds of food, like fruit, vegetables, meat, dairy. They even have like alcohol from local farms around New York City. So a lot of the farms are like 1 or 2 or even 3 hours away from the city, and it's about like 3 New York City blocks. So it's a pretty big market, and they're open a few times a week. So it seems like a lot of people in that area often go and buy fresh food there. Um, and I really enjoyed visiting this market because, well, first of all, I really love cooking. I love cooking with fresh food, and I like trying new food. So if I go to the market again, I'll be able to find some things that I've never had. And the second reason is that the farmers there were really friendly. They wanted to talk about all their food. I asked them a lot of questions about like the difference between organic and non-organic. I asked them, how they raise their animals, and we talked about, how to cook the food. So that was really enjoyable. And I think that if I went again to the market, I would probably want to try more things because I didn't have time. So I was only able to buy like a few vegetables and some fruit, but I would want to go back and buy more food and
Thank
probably,
you.
okay.
All right. How did you feel about that one?
Yeah, the last uh, 30 seconds, I don't know if you could see, I kind of, I said, if I had
Mhm.
to go back there again.
Right. Yeah, I think that actually worked really well. Like, I think that was a smooth kind of transition. It was really not until like the last 10 seconds that I could tell that you were starting to run out
I
of
was
something to
losing, I
say.
was losing
Yeah,
steam.
exactly. But yeah, it's one that I think just getting comfortable with talking for 2 minutes
Mm,
is really important, but also kind of think about how you can keep going if the time is not finished. Because again, if you finish at a minute and 30, you're going to have an uncomfortable silence, and so it's better to just keep going, you know even if it's a little bit of a tangent. I think it's okay. Like I would maybe talk about something related to that,
hmm
and so it's not totally off topic, but you're still producing language and you're still using grammar and everything. And so I think it's better to stick to the topic, but if you've got some time, you can kind of veer off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you could talk about, I think like using a conditional sentence, like if I went
Mhm.
again, or,
Yeah, right.
uh, or like, yeah, it made me think about other markets that I visited. So you can
Mhm.
compare, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I've been told by a lot of IELTS students that sometimes the listener or the tester is not as friendly as us, and so it's kind of awkward. It's sometimes uncomfortable, and
Mhm.
so it's really good to just like use the time,
Yeah,
and
sure. Yeah, that's how I think about it too, is that, of course, it's really scary to be in that situation,
mm,
where there's a person who looks angry and you're trying to think of something to say.
mm,
But really, it is an opportunity for you to say a lot and to show off a lot of your grammar, and you can use idioms, and
hmm
you can really use that time to show what you know. And I think it's one that is a really important part of the exam.
Yeah, and so a good thing that you can do is, for example, when you're watching our videos, you can turn on your timer and kind of pay attention to the way that we are organizing our time and how we answer the question, um, and how much time we spend on kind of each part of our answer.
Hmm. And also to try to figure out when we are out of material and have to start making stuff up.
Exactly.
That's the real test.
And try to do that yourself, you know.
Yeah.
So that was a sample answer for a part two question about an open air market. We hope you enjoyed it and learned some useful expressions from us. Please subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more videos like this. If you want more practice or an evaluation, please contact us at bfluentielts@gmail.com and we can help you even more.
Bye.
Bye.